Throw versus flood. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the review garage. Today on the table, it is a head-to-head battle. We have the Olight Baton 4 going up against the Olight Baton Turbo. And in today's video, we'll be comparing these two lights, the beam, the size, the purpose. Let's get into it and see which one comes out on top. We're getting right into a kind of a little overview of both these lights. You'll see they're very similar lights made out of the same material, both controlled by a stainless steel switch, a single stainless steel switch, I should say, both with 6 modes, a moonlight, a low, a medium, a high, a turbo, as well as a strobe. Both are going to be charged by your magnetic tails here. Both these lights are IPX8 rated, so they're going to be submersible up to 2 meters and drop proof up to 1.5 meters. The biggest difference with these two lights is going to be, once we turn them on, the beams that they put out. So before we get into the beams, let's go ahead and I'm kind of do a little size comparison here, just so you can kind of get a better idea of the size. So this would be obviously the Baton 4 in my palm here. This is the Baton Turbo. We'll lay them both in here together. So you'll see the Baton Turbo, a little bit longer, but definitely quite a bit thicker. If we do the old classic AA battery test here, you'll see the Baton 4 just slightly larger than a AA battery, not even that much wider. If we do that with the Baton Turbo, you're looking at roughly almost 2 AA batteries, and then you'll see it's quite a bit thicker. The bezel a lot bigger. We can fit a quarter directly over the bezel of the Turbo, and then on the Baton 4, you'll see that bezel is quite a bit smaller in diameter. So the Baton 4 definitely wins the battle on obviously the size. It is smaller. Now both these are obviously micro pocket lights. They both serve that purpose really well. But if you're going strictly for size, the Baton 4 is going to be really tough to beat. This thing basically just disappears in your pocket. Whereas with the Baton Turbo being a little bit thicker, you definitely feel it there. And it's mainly the width of it. You definitely feel it more in your pocket, even when it's just kind of clipped onto your pocket. But both very manageable to carry in the pocket. But let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this comparison, which will of course be the actual light or the beam output. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna go through each mode. We'll pop it against the wall here. And you'll actually see as we go through these modes, the output from each mode is actually pretty similar on both of these. So where the difference comes is when we start talking about the candela on the Baton Turbo versus the Baton 4. All right, so let's go ahead and I'll get these little boxes out of the way, put these down, and we will go right into our first mode here. Get this down to low, this one down to low, and to cycle the mode, you just hold your switch here. So this is low on both the Baton Turbo and the Baton 4. The low setting on the the Baton Turbo is 15 lumens, and on the Baton 4 is 12 lumens. But right away, you'll see the Baton Turbo is a thrower, and the Baton 4 is going to be more of a floodlight with a lot of spill. I mean, you can see how tight this hotspot is on the Baton Turbo. It is definitely meant to, shoot light at a target downrange. Now we'll go ahead and jump up to medium. So hold this down. So this is our medium on both lights, and this is actually the same lumen output of 60 lumens on both here. And you'll see really what stands out is that that tight, punchy hot spot on the Baton Turbo versus the wide kind of beam on the Baton 4. And we'll go ahead and jump up to high. Now once again, this is going to be the same lumen output. We have 300 on the high setting for both lights. That's 300. I'm going to step back a little bit so you can kind of see it a little better here. That's 300 on both lights. Now we'll jump up to the turbo on each light here by you just double click down on each. I got it on this one. I missed it on there it is. So this is our turbo on each. Now on the Baton Turbo, this is 1,000 lumens on the right here. And then on the turbo on the Baton 4, we're looking at 1,300 lumens. Now again, here's where the big difference is with these two lights, because on the Baton Turbo, we have a max candela of 65,000, and then on the Baton 4, our candela maxes out at 7,000. So this is really where these lights are really going to kind of change for what the purpose is and what they excel at and what maybe they aren't so good at is right here, as you see in this setting. Now, we will get a much better kind of demonstration of that when we go outside here shortly and kind of see how these light up in the dark to get a better demonstration of that. But I did want to also just kind of go over some things I kind of like and maybe dislike about each of these. The one thing that I really like about the Baton Turbo is, for me, I'm 6'2", I might have slightly large hands, I don't know, but the Baton Turbo just kind of fits in my hand better. I would say I can get a good grip on it. It's not too small. It's not too kind of narrow. I get a nice, good, firm grip on it. I've never kind of struggled, like, think I'm going to drop this or anything like that. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like the perfect size where it's not too small, but still it's, a micro pocket light that kind of serve that, really small light kind of pocket, everyday carry purpose. With the Baton 4, it's really just kind of like almost awkward in my hand. I just never really got super used to like carrying a light this small. So what I'd use the Baton for more often is just kind of like as a clip light, clipping on my hat. Works really good in that setting. You don't even really know it's on your hat. It's so small and light. It works great if you're going to be, using it, to clip onto something and use it that way. Baton 4 is great for that purpose. But again, just, kind of how they feel in the hand, for me, the winner is definitely the Baton Turbo. And just like another small little complaint, it kind of goes for both of them. So I kind of feel like there could have been, if Olight would have added like a different mode, because you go right from 300 in your high setting. Let me get this in the high setting here real quick. There, so this is our high setting. And then from 300, you go all the way up to, in turbo, to 1300. So it's 300 to, oh, I didn't do that right. 300 to 1300. And it's just kind of a big jump. I feel like there could be, if there was like maybe a mode kind of somewhere in the middle there, like a little middle ground mode. Again, like with the Baton Turbo, you're going from, let's see, is this let's go in our high. I was already in high. From high, you're going to 300 to 1000. So just maybe a mode that was kind of split the hairs in the middle there. Those two would have been nice. But again, not a huge deal, but just kind of something I think might have been nice on both those lights. And the other thing with the Baton Turbo, I thought this light would have been so cool with a tail switch. Like, I think it would have made it such an EDC kind of beast. Just having a nice little tail switch. Because I think it's big enough to where you could have got away with it, and it just would have been, I think, perfect for it. It fits in your hand still good, perfect there. I think a tail switch would have made this light like a lot more fun, but also just a lot more functional too. So I think a tail switch would have been cool in the Turbo. Again, on the Baton 4, I get it. It's like, it's so small, I could hardly even hit a tail switch. So not so much on the Baton 4, but I think the Turbo would have been kind of cool with a tail switch offering. And in terms of, more, it's kind of hard to come up with more pros and cons because they really are, almost the identical functioning light. It's just kind of like a different beam and a slightly different size. So again, build quality is great on each of them, super durable, feel great in the hand. It does not feel cheap at all. And I think getting the 6 modes is really cool with this. The function, the UI on these Olights is so easy to use. Like, it's idiot proof. I mean, I operated these without even reading the manual. So if I can learn how to do these, literally anyone could. I think a 12-year-old probably could. So super easy, interface on both these lights. Because I could explain, you got your indicator here on the left and then your battery on the right. So if we turn this on here, you see I'm in medium. I got about a full battery on the Turbo here. And we turn this on the Baton. I'm in medium, and I'm actually a little low on battery. I got about 2 bars, so getting a little low on the Baton 4. So again, both super easy to use, really good material, very durable, feeling light, no issues at all with any of the fit and finish areas on either of the lights. So before we go outside in the dark here and put these through a few nighttime tests, we can compare them. I do want to talk about just also what you get in the box for each of these. You're obviously going to get your magnetic charger here. So if anyone's not familiar with Olight, you get your magnetic charger. Now this is a proprietary battery system, which is a negative to some people, but I actually love the charging on the Olights. I think it's super easy to use. I love having the magnetic tail end on these, so you can just kind of, pop it right onto like a lawn chair in the backyard if you're having a fire or something on a campsite. Boom, you clip it on and you can just, have a functioning kind of stand for your light. But yeah, so you get the charger cable, then we get a little carry pouch, which is nice. I've never used it, but it's nice that it comes with that, and then a little wrist lanyard as well, and of course a manual. Now I should mention on the Baton Turbo, it does come with this CR123A battery. You will lose some of your beam power by using this, but it is cool that Olight finally gave an offering where you can have a different battery source than just their proprietary system. You do not get that on the Baton 4. So with that, let's go outside and see what the Turbo and the Baton 4 can do in the dark. All right, so we are in the backyard now. As you can tell, it is nighttime. We're going to run these lights through a few outdoor tests here. We'll start off here looking at my vinyl fence. We're about 35 feet away. We'll kind of run through the modes on each of the lights and just get a little side-by-side comparison here. Let's go ahead and start with the going to all the modes. Okay, so this is low on the Baton 4. So this is the Baton 4 on the low setting. And again, we're about 35 feet away from that fence. Still see a little bit of a hot spot there, but very diffused. Again, a lot of kind of flood there, a lot of spill, but not much of a condensed hot spot here on the Baton 4 and low. And then we'll go ahead and now pop the Baton Turbo on low here. Oh, sorry, that's not low. What actually was low? Wow, because that was low. So see, right off the bat, you'll see much more concentrated hot spot. It's a much more focused beam. You still get a little bit of, spilled on the outside that you can see is pretty usable, but it is much more concentrated there in the middle. So again, this is our low setting on both lights. I'll go ahead and turn these both on low. If I can try to separate them a little bit so you can see the difference. So again, on the right is our Baton 4. The left is our Baton Turbo. That's our low setting. And you'll see once again, quite a massive difference in the beams on these two lights. So this is where our big difference is coming on these two lights. All right, so we're now jumped up to medium on the Baton 4. This is our medium setting. A little solo here on this one so you can see it. That's medium on the Baton 4. Now we will jump right up to medium on the Baton Turbo. So again, you'll see that much more concentrated hotspot on the Turbo. So that's medium. Let me turn the Baton 4 back on, separate these a little bit. So again, you see a lot more concentrated beam there on the Turbo. And then our Baton 4 kind of looks more, kind of like a mini floodlight almost here on the right side. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump up on the high setting on the Baton 4. So that's our high setting there. As you see, it really does do a great job of lighting up, that close to mid-range area. I mean, it's lighting up that whole, the whole fence line, the whole yard in front of me. So again, a lot of good spill here on the Baton 4. And we'll go ahead and jump to the high on the Baton Turbo. And once again, you can see, I mean, you just have like a perfect little hot spot there, just shooting right into that fence. Just ready to pop through it and go 500 meters downrange. So see there, that is our high setting on the Baton Turbo. Now we'll go ahead and get these both on high. Try to separate them a little bit there. You can see the difference there. All right, now we'll go ahead and do the turbo setting on the Baton 4. It's a little bit confusing. So that's high, and we'll double click, and there's our turbo. So that's our full 1300 lumens on the Baton 4. That is our turbo setting on the Baton 4. All right, now we will do our turbo setting on the Baton Turbo. So turbo on the Turbo, we'll double click, and boom, look at that. I mean, it just can't really, I don't know if the camera really picked it up, but it literally shot light off the fence right into my face, even from 35 feet away. That's how impressive this thing is, for throwing that light. way down on the target. So there it is. Now let me go ahead and turn the Baton 4 on and get that there. So there's a turbo on both of them right there. All right, now for this next demonstration here, we're going to do, we're kind of have the camera pointed at a point in the yard where you'll see a vinyl fence is going to meet a brick fence, or brick wall, I should say. And that's going to be right about 45 yards away. I'm not going to go through all the low, medium, high. We're just going to go to high, and then I'll do turbo as well. So we'll go ahead and start. This is with the Baton 4 on high, and then we're trying to get about 45 yards right in the middle of the camera here. You'll see that down there right where the vinyl meets this brick wall that runs around the back of my property. Again, this is our high setting on the Baton 4. Now we'll go ahead and compare that right now to the Baton Turbo in the high setting. We'll aim this down here and you'll see, again, this reaches down there, no problem. You still see the hot spot all the way down there, 45 yards, no problem. It's reaching down there with a lot more room to spare. If that wall wasn't there, just go right through it. All right, now we'll just do the same test here, but we'll go ahead and jump it in the turbo setting. So this is our high on the Baton 4. We'll go ahead and double click, and boom, we're up to our turbo. Just see, it really does, it does do a great job lighting up, that mid-range area. I use this when I'm out here with the kids playing at night. I can clip this on my hat, walk around this, and it does light up the whole yard really, really well. And then we'll go ahead and compare that on the Baton Turbo. We'll double click. Boom, look at that turbo. Look at that. Look at that. It's a spotlight downrange. Look at that. See my shed? Look at that. Just keeps a beam going all the way down there. Such a fun light this turbo is. All right, so one last quick test here with these lights. If you look right in the middle of the screen, there's a power line it's right about 85 yards away, 85 to 100 yards away. I'm gonna go ahead and put this light, the Baton 4 in the turbo setting, see if we can kind of jump this. So you see there's a fence here. Let me go up to turbo, and we'll try to get out there right about 85 yards out there. I'm trying to get that power line. You can kind of see it in the middle there, but just kind of demonstrating, putting this Baton 4 to the max here to kind of see. It still kind of lights up that line a little bit there. But let's go ahead and compare that now to our Baton Turbo. So let me get the Baton Turbo. So there's our high. Double click, we're in turbo, and boom, see it right away. It immediately lights up that power line. Can see everything on that tree line. I can even keep going down, well over 100 yards to get way over there, lighting up that whole tree line. No problem on the Baton Turbo. All right, so we are back in the garage now, having just seen what both these lights can do in the dark. So the big thing, again, if you're comparing these two lights, they really are two completely different lights, even though they are in a similar package. The big question you have to ask yourself is, again, do you want more of an everyday beam, or do you want more of a certified pocket thrower? That's obviously gonna be the turbo. But just for everyday use, doing stuff around the house, inside, maybe a light you keep in your truck just to have handy nearby, something falls under your seat. The Baton 4 is going to be a little bit more versatile and more practical in those everyday kind of use situations. Whereas the Baton Turbo, it is strictly for shooting at a target down range. So I think, you're going to be probably finding yourself using the Baton 4 a little more, unless you have specific, use cases where you're going to be needing that all that candela to just launch, a beam down range to, find a target. I will say that I find the Baton Turbo, it's just a fun light to use because, again, it's so small. And, again, you're getting, I don't even know if I mentioned it, but it goes, you're getting 540 meters of throw on this thing, of something that literally fits in the palm of your hand. It's just a really fun light to use. Like, I like just going on walks with this light, around the neighborhood, take the dogs and the kids out. And it's just fun to just launch it down range and light something up that's so far away from you. So even though, again, the Baton 4 maybe a tad bit more practical for everyday use, I always just find myself, I'm more so grabbing the Baton Turbo to take out, just because, again, it's just such a fun light to just launch that light, way down range. So to answer the question of if I had to pick one, which one would it be? I would hope I wouldn't have to pick one because, again, they're two completely different lights. So hopefully you can just have them both. But if I could only have one, man, it's tough. Because again, there's practicality versus functionality, but I think I would just take the Baton Turbo. Again, it's just such a fun light. I mean, if you're on the fence about getting it, add it to the collection. It's a fun light. Again, fits in the hand great, feels great. It's got a little more size and weight to it. Just feels like it just feels a little more substantial and robust too. But again, it's just such a fun light. Like if I had to have one of these in my collection, I think it's the Baton Turbo that's a little bit more kind of unique for what it does. So I would pick the Baton Turbo. But again, that Baton 4, still a really impressive light in its own kind of right, but I don't think it's as kind of unique and as fun as the Baton Turbo. Now, I guess I should mention price too as well. The Baton Turbo is going to be a little bit more expensive. I think those retail around $70 new, but I think I got mine right around $50 and it was on sale. Might have even been about $45. You know, with Olights, they go on sale quite often throughout the year, so you just need to kind of look for one of those sales. The Baton 4, I believe that's right around $50 new, but again, I think I got mine for around $35. So the Baton Turbo is a little bit more expensive, but again, they're both, if you get them on sale, they're both a pretty good value and not too hard on the wallet. So as always, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Helps the channel a ton, helps me be able to keep doing these reviews. And also, if you're interested in the content, I'm going to have a lot more kind of light reviews coming out as well. I have a few other Olights I'm going to be comparing, like the Warrior Mini 3 versus the Warrior 3S, and also a bunch of Ace Beams, and a few other different Olight models as well as some everyday carry bags, a lot of outdoor stuff and tool stuff. So if any of that interests you, please, again, like and subscribe. And as always, be on the lookout for more reviews from the Review Garage.